Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I will do an early preview of product bundles feature that became available in Dynamics 365 version 40. The reason why it's early is because this version is still in preview, and as you will see throughout the video, certain things still do not work as expected. The purpose of this feature is to combine multiple products in a bundle and then add that product bundle on a sales order. Once you print a sales order confirmation, which is a customer-facing document, you would expect to see a product bundle item on it. But when it comes to internal processes such as picking and printing packing slips, that's where you will see all the components of that bundle. Please note that this feature replaces product bundles that were available as the part of revenue recognition. This feature was depreciated in April 2023. If we look at our feature management workspace, we need to enable those two features. So the first one turns on the product bundles, and the second feature that we will also review allows us to save product bundles information against sales order confirmation and invoices. So we can delete a sales order but still reprint documents with product bundle information on it. Now, if we look at the list of current limitations, this list is quite extensive. Product bundles feature is not supported for commerce channel orders such as point of sale, call center. It's also not supported in prospect to cash solution. Product bundles aren't supported for intercompany sales orders. Product bundles are not supported for direct deliveries, delivery schedules, and miscellaneous charges that are added to the bundle item are not allocated to individual components. So the list is quite extensive. And for many companies, that alone would be enough to say that this feature is not for them because of all those current limitations. If you still feel that these are still workable for your organization, let's take a look at the feature in more details. So this is a summary of the products that I have created in Dynamics 365. So the first product is 100, and that's the bundle product. So that's a parent level item. It is set up as the product type item because I could not set it up as a service because I need to define a bill of material for it. And the only way for me to define BOM for an item is to make sure that the type is item, not service. I also set it up as the stock product for the same reason. And in here, I set it up with advanced warehousing storage dimension group so I can see how it behaves there. And then the sales price for this product bundle that I defined is $1,000. This parent level has three components. The first component is item 200, which is a console. It is set up also as an item, and it's set up as a stock product, and it's set up with advanced warehousing group, and it also has a serial number dimension turned on. The sales price, a standalone sales price for console item, is $900. The second component is item 201, which is a controller. It's set up very similar to item 200. The only difference is that it's not serialized product, and the sales price, standalone sales price, is $200. And a third and last component for my bundle is the item 300, which is a Game Pass. It is set up as a service product, but it's also set up as a stock product. The reason there is because that's the only way I can add that item to a bill of material. On the storage dimension group, the setup is easier. It's only tracked by site and warehouse, and the standalone sales price is $100. So if you add the sales prices of all three components, will come to $1,200, but the bundle is sold at $1,000. Now let's review a few setups on the bundle item. Release products, item 100. First thing you need to do here is to make sure that this checkbox is set to yes. So this is a product bundle. And because the components for a bundle are defined via a bill of material, we'll need to make sure, if we scroll to the production tab here, is the production type is bill of material. After that, we would be able to define our bill of material, which has all three components. And the relation here is 1-to-1. So to build one bundle, we need one console, one additional controller, and one Game Pass. Now let's add this bundle item to a sales order. So here's a sales order 911, and you see here that I have added our bundle item 100 with quantity of 1. Because this is a preview version, there is a bug that requires me to complete any sales order. Even though this sales order is not part of retail channels such as call center, you see retail sales is set to no, but for some reason in this version, every sales order requires completion. It may be different by the time that you are viewing this video. For now, that's what I have to work with. So this is not a retail or commerce channel order, but I need to complete it before I can post sales order confirmation. The sales order confirmation step is important because that's the step that will explode our bundle. It will go and add the components of our bundle to that sales order so we can proceed with picking. Without that, the explosion will not happen. And in documentation, it explicitly say, do not use the bomb explosion feature because that's not the way to explode our bundle. So with that being said, let's just look at the sales order first. We see the quantity is 1, we see a unit price of $1,000, and we see that our net amount is also $1,000. Now we will go and post our sales order confirmation and we will print it to look at it. Go to Sell, click on Confirm Sales Order. In here you see this Do Not Print Child Items checkbox, and by default is always set to yes. So what I noticed in my testing, even if I uncheck that, that means, well, let's print our child items on our sales order confirmation. And we kind of see them right here on the bottom, console, controller, and a game pass. When we print the confirmation document itself, only bundle item will show up as expected. So the conclusion here is that this checkbox doesn't really drive whether or not we're going to see our components on the sales order confirmation. In either case, only the bundle item will show up, not the components. Let's try it. I'm going to click on OK. And because we're printing to screen, it's going to give us that warning. We're going to say yes. So this is when the explosion of our bundle will actually happen. So if you look at the document itself, you see that it only prints the bundle. We see the sales price of 1,000 as we expected. Now let's go back to the sales order, and we see there are a lot of things that happen here. First of all, we see 3 new sales order lines. We see lines for each of our components. If you look at our original bundle item, we see that the quantity has changed from 1 to 0 to blank. We also see that the bundle status for that line is open order. That means we have not packed or shipped that bundle. And we see the bundle net amount is 1,000. And we see the line status here is canceled. All those things had happened automatically. Now let's take a look at these 2 items. Those are stocked products that are components. We see that on the right, they were automatically added to load 57. That's my transportation management configuration. We see the status of those 2 lines is open order. But what's most interesting is we see the unit price. So the unit price is 750 and 166. Together with that Game Pass item, that will give us $1,000. So the sales price for the components is recalculated based on the sales price of the bundle. So it allocates the price of a bundle to all its components. And the calculation is driven by the sales price of a component, the standalone sales price. So $900 was the standalone sales price of a console, but when recalculated based on the sales price of a bundle of 1,000, it came to $750, 166 and 67 for our controller, and 83 and 33 cents instead of $100 for our Game Pass. Also, you may notice that the sales prices for those components are locked. You could not modify those sales prices because they are driven by the sales price of a bundle. One thing that I noticed, if I modify my order, again, I think this will go away, but if I go and modify that sales order, look at the sales prices right here, and then I complete my sales order again, I have to do it just because that's the way the preview version 40 works. The unit prices are reset to their original standalone sales price. Keep in mind, if that bug is not gone, I think you will have an issue here because right now, total of my order changed from 1,000, which is the way it should have been, to 1,200, which is the sum of the standalone sales prices for my components. So because of that, we will abandon that sales order and we'll create a new one. Here's a new sales order, and now I will go and confirm it to explode our bundle. Click on Confirm Now, so you can confirm it either using the Generate Confirmation or click on Confirm Now. In either case, the explosion will happen. Same confirmation. Let's go back. Now in the document, it talks about how the picking list and the packing slip would look like. Depending on your warehouse processes, you may not need to generate picking lists. You do that only if you're using simple picking process. If you're using advanced warehousing, using handhelds to pick your items, then you will not generate the pick list. But for those organizations that do use simple picking, I'll show how the standard picking list document would look like. I'll navigate to pick and pack, generate picking list. I'm going to print it, and I will check this do not print child items checkbox to yes. It should not show as the child items, but because this checkbox doesn't really have any effect on the behavior of our documents, we would expect to see 3 components that need to be picked. You may notice here that this picking list includes that Game Pass, that serviced stocked product, but because it's marked as stocked, that's why it's included in our picking list. So we do not see a bundle item, we only see 3 stock components of that bundle. I'll go back. To proceed further, I'll need to cancel that picking list by deleting picking list registrations. Go to picking list registration, click on delete. Yes, go back. Now, what we'll need to do is to pick it using advanced warehousing way. What I'll do now, and I'll skip that part, is I'll go and I'll release that sales order to warehouse, and I'll complete warehouse picking work. So here's a warehouse picking work that I have generated. I need to pick console from a bulk location 001. And then I need to pick a controller from another bulk location 002, and then I have to drop them off at the bay door. You may notice here I'm not picking my service item because you do not pick service item using advanced warehousing. Now let's go and complete that work. Using a handheld device, I completed my work. Let's refresh the screen. See that the work has a status of closed. That means we have completed our picking using a handheld device. Now let's go back to our sales order and proceed to the packing slip posting. Click on post packing slip. Here you usually post your packing slip for picked quantities. But if we try to do it now here, we're going to see an error. So let's try that. So our quantity here is picked. We see on the bottom that we only picked 2 items, our 2 stocked products, console and the controller. And we're going to print our packing slip. So let's just try to go and post the packing slip for 2 picked items. I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to say yes. So what you're going to get here is an error. Component 200, which is an item that we have picked, which is our console, belongs to a bundle and was removed. To continue processing, all other components for that bundle must be removed for the line number 1. The error is a bit misleading, but I think what is happening here is because when we tried to post the packing slip only for picked quantities, it excluded our service Game Pass item. And that is considered breaking the bundle. And the system is trying to prevent it. It says, well, you cannot really ship one component of a bundle without shipping another. You can ship partial quantities for your bundle, but that means picking partial quantities for all the components. When we did that packing slip, we only tried to post the packing slip for 2 of 3 the components. But the message, it doesn't really say that, doesn't really talk about item 300, which is the item that was excluded from the packing slip posting. But that's the way I interpret it. Messaging here could have been crisper. So let's close this error and let's try to post packing slip now for all quantities instead. We see all 3 component items there on the bottom, and we're going to try to post the packing slip this way. I'm going to say yes. I know that many of you may say that this is not the way you would want to post the packing slips for all the items, but that's the only way that I found that would work if you are using advanced warehousing for your picking. All right, so here's our packing slip document. As expected, it contains only the component items right there. Let's go back. Now, if we look at our line statuses here, we see that the bundle line status is now delivered. And we see that the line statuses for all 3 components are also delivered. And we still see our originally preserved unit prices, which is the allocation of a sales price of a bundle. And in the final step, we will now go and we will invoice that sales order. So we'll go to invoice. Generate invoice. For the invoice, we have no problem posting it for the packing slip quantity. Usually that's done by periodic job. In here, I'll do it manually. I'm going to print the invoice and I'm going to click on OK. Because this is a customer-facing document, the customer expects to see only the bundle item on it, even though we had to pick 3 separate components to meet that. Here it is. We see that only a bundle item is included, and we also see the unit price of 1,000. So that's the invoice amount. So no components are displayed here. Go back to our document. Go back to our sales order. We see that the bundle line status has changed to invoice, and statuses for 3 components also changed to invoice. Now if we go back to the feature management, I wanted to test this feature where we could delete a sales order and still were able to reprint our sales order confirmation or sales order invoices. So let's go back to that sales order we just completed. You see the status is invoiced. Because of that bug, we first need to click on modify to enable a delete button. Let's click on delete and say yes. We have this error message saying that cannot delete sales line, has work associated with it, which is correct. We had warehouse work completed for 2 of our lines. To fix that, let's go and try to delete that load right here. Click on loads and I will delete it. Cannot do that. Load line cannot be deleted because there is work associated with it. So to test that feature, I have another sales order that I completed without advanced warehouse work. So let's test it on it. So here's a fully invoiced sales order for the same bundle. We're going to do exact same thing. Modify, click on delete and say yes. We're getting exactly the same error about the same item 200. But if you look at that item 200, warehouse work, we see that there is no warehouse work associated with it, neither open nor closed. Let's try to delete the sales load. Here's a load. Click on delete, say yes. So the load is now gone. Let's go back to that sales order, refresh. You see the reference to the load has disappeared. And now let's go and delete it. Delete, say yes, and say yes again. So now we have sales order 913 disappeared. Now let's go and test journals. We'll go to sales and marketing, sales orders, order confirmation, sales order confirmations. In here we'll find our sales order. That's the one we just deleted. And in here we can click on preview. And let's say original preview. For the sales order confirmation, it should contain only single bundle item. Here it is, gaming bundle, $1,000. Let's go back. And the order itself does not exist. Click on the order 913. We see that we're taken to the empty grid. Now let's do the same thing for the sales order packing slip. Order shipping, packing slip. Let's find our sales order 913. Here it is. And we can print preview it. Original, we should see 3 components for which we have posted our packing slip. Here it is, components 200, 201, and 300. And finally, let's take a look at sales order invoice journal. We will go to AR, inquiries and reports, invoices, invoice journal, 913. Here's the sales order and preview the document. We should see a single bundle item with the sales price of $1,000. Here it is. So let's just summarize what we just saw. So we saw the way to bill a bundle using a bill of material. We saw a way of adding that bundle item to our sales order and posting documents such as sales order confirmation, picking list, packing slip, and invoice. The documents on their own work perfectly. So I think this feature can be useful, but the way it is working right now, it's just not ready for mass adoption. I think there has to be a few improvements and bug fixes for the companies to take advantage of that feature. And I think there should be a consideration for all the limitations that are currently listed in the document right here. Because if you are using intercompany sales orders, if you're using commerce orders, if you're using direct deliveries, delivery schedules, etc., all those things are not supported in a current iteration of a product bundle feature. That is all I wanted to show to you today. I hope you found this video useful. Until the next time, take care.